official.
Gotta be the one to put us on, cause I ain't waiting for nobody else to make it.
Welcome to this brand new episode. My name is Sock Monkey Mike, your host with the most. I have some very special and amazing guests for you this week. Before I get into the guests, though, I am going to name my top 3 picks for AEW Dynamite. So with that said, I'm going to stop talking and let's go on to the picks. My AEW top picks. At my number 3 pick for AEW is the AEW Tag Team Championship match between the AEW Tag Team Champions Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page, who surprisingly does not have a beer with them this time, taking on the very unique tag team of Jimmy Havoc and Kip Sapien. Now, when I say very unique, I really don't see those two as a tag team, more as singles competitors. Same thing goes with the tag team champions, but hey, if any tag team works, any tag team works. This match was definitely something unique and something new. We saw Kip Sapien and Jimmy Havoc holding their own, especially with Jimmy Havoc doing what he does best, and that's simply dissecting the opponent little by little. We did see a lot from Penelope Ford at ringside. However, the AEW Tag Team Champions did hold their own. Kenny Omega doing his usual comebacks and his regular different variations of punches and kicks, those very lethal kicks, as well as Hangman doing what Hangman does best. And at the end of the day, Hangman and Kenny Omega did hit their finisher, which I find is interesting. It's Kenny Omega's V-trigger with the combination of Hangman's with Hangman's clothesline. 1, 2, 3. The AEW Tag Team Champions come out with the victory. I'm going to give this match a solid 3.5 out of 4 stars. I think that both teams were showcased. I think both teams were showcased in this instance. I don't think I saw any flaws in this one, and it was just a very fun. It was a very fun match to see. So I think it was absolutely awesome, and that's why it's my number 3 pick. On to my number 2 pick. My number 2 pick is a women's division match between Nyla Rose, the former AEW Women's Champion, taking on Big Swole. Now, Big Swole is, in my opinion, the most underrated women's competitor on the AEW roster. And it definitely shows here when Nyla Rose and Big Swole really go at it. I mean, Big Swole, for those who don't know, she was in the Mae Young Classic a couple of years ago. And her strength and her unique speed and athletic ability is so great. It's so great. And you definitely see this in this match. You saw Big Swole holding her own, trying to keep the beast down. But at the end of the day, Nyla Rose did come out with the victory after a very lethal finishing maneuver. I'm going to give this match I'm going to give it to him 4 out of 4 stars, in my opinion. You definitely have to go back and watch this match to really appreciate how much that these two have really represented the women's division very well. Even after the match, Big Swole had some great words to say, as you can see here.
Heck of an offensive showing here. Tough draw for you. Great to have you back in action, I can tell you that.
You know what? It's real good to be back. That 2 months off, it recentered me. So even though I wasn't victorious today, it don't matter because the fans are behind me 110%. And they know who world it is.
Rebel, back it up. Let's go.
Anyway, they know who world
it is. You want to mess with me? Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm right here. You want to rub all the fans right here.
Okay, move out of the way. She won't cry.
Good Lord.
No. You cannot hit me. I'm injured. Rebel, back it up. Go. No.
Dr. Britt Baker hightailing it out of here.
Big Swole means business.
Let's get it.
And yes, we do see Britt Baker interrupt that with the promo on her own. She actually had someone run the barricade onto Big Swole, but Big Swole didn't back down. I will take note of this. I will take note of this. Britt Baker is such, like, her promo skills are off the top of the roof, especially since coming to AEW. So I love her work as a heel. I love her promo work. Hopefully when she's recovered, she hopefully will be in that AEW Women's Championship picture again. But again, those two, what I'm talking about is Big Swole and Nyla Rose absolutely killed it. And I cannot wait to see more from Big Swole, and hopefully she'll get into the AEW Women's title picture very, very, very soon. And on to my number one pick. My number one pick goes in the form of the TNT Championship match. This is in response to Cody Rhodes' Open Challenge, which he announced last week. And this is a match that really came out of nowhere, but I think really after the Challengers match against MJF over at Double or Nothing there, and the previous match against Chris Jericho, I think that this man absolutely deserves the chance at the TNT Championship. And the person I'm talking about is Jungle Boy Jack Perry. And again, we always think of him as a tag team competitor, and to see him once again put on a classic with Cody, I mean, these two absolutely killed it. That's why it was in the main event. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Jungle Boy giving it his all with a huge clothesline, and even driving Cody into the barricade, which was hard enough to make Cody bleed. And as the legendary Jim Ross would say, he is wearing the Crimson Mask. The world famous Crimson Mask. I absolutely loved it. But in the end, Cody Rhodes did hit the crossroads on Jack Perry to get the victory. And these two showed respect at the end of the match, which I absolutely loved. There wasn't any conflict of any sorts. Although I do say, before my rating on this match, I do say the confrontation between Jack Perry and MJF at ringside was absolutely funny. Especially after their last encounter, which was at Double or Nothing, but I loved it. So I'm going to give this match a solid 4 out of 4 stars. I think it was absolutely great to watch. Make sure you guys check out that match if you guys have the opportunity, if you have it on DVR or on YouTube. Definitely check that out, because that match really, really was on another level, especially with the TNT Championship, not considered by most to be a beautiful title. Especially with the rumors saying that it is not done yet. It's just a prototype. But I think Cody has established himself as a fighting champion. You know, people, when they think of open challenges, the first person that they think of is John Cena when he did the US Open Challenges. But with this one, I think that Cody Rhodes could have a great spin on it and definitely defend the championship with pride. As for that, though, like I mentioned before, 4 out of 4 stars for me. Killed it on Dynamite. Before I get everything closed up with AEW, I do want to mention that next week the TNT Open Challenge continues as Cody Rhodes defends his TNT Championship against Marken. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Against Marken of the Private Party, which I'm really surprised, because when it comes to these TNT Championship defense, even Cody said on social media that it was against not just the AEW roster, but anybody that's willing to step up. So I'm really interested in seeing how Mark Ken steps up and see how he how he steps up with Cody. So I'm really interested in seeing that match. My final grade for AEW Dynamite is going to be a solid A. I think that they absolutely killed it with each and every segment, each and every match that had happened. Sure that there could have been a little bit more, like, for example, when I was talking about the Chris Jericho segment, and he instead confronted Orange Cassidy. I mean, I love Orange Cassidy as it is, but I think they could have done something more. But other than that, I love the show overall. And yeah, and now, done talking about AEW Dynamite, let us talk about NXT. And now, before I do, I'm going to introduce my first guest here. You may have seen her on the channel before. You may have seen her on AEW Double or Nothing predictions. You may have seen her on NXT TakeOver in Your House predictions. And actually, her birthday was on NXT TakeOver in Your House. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me introduce you to my best friend, my day one homie, the one, the only, the greatest that there ever is, probably the only person that I know that marks out for Bobby Fish, That marks out for Bobby Fish, Tyler Breeze, and Sean Spears all at once. Ladies and gentlemen, Priscilla giving out her top picks for AEW Dynamite and NXT. Take it away.
Hi guys, my name is Priscilla, also known as Life of Priscilla on Instagram, and I'm here to share my favorite moments from this week's past NXT and AEW. Now, for NXT, my favorite match of the night has to be the triple threat for the number one contendership for the tag titles against Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch versus Undisputed Era, which is Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong, and surprise third tag team, which was Breezango. As you guys know, that Dango was injured back in December, so to have them back as a team and back to in the tag title picture was amazing. So I'm a huge fan of Undisputed Era, and I'm a fan of Breezango. So for those two to be in one match, it was amazing. We had some great moments in the match from Undisputed Era and from the other two teams. Fandango is back and better than ever, guys. Like, he does not miss a beat. He's been gone for a couple months, but it's like he never left. It was such a great match. The outcome was even better because my favorite team, Breezango, won. I would have loved Undisputed Era to win too, so they can get their gold back. But it's been long overdue for these boys. Fandango and Breeze really deserve this title shot. They were doing very well when Dango came back last year, and unfortunately he got injured. So for them to come back stronger than ever, and for them to go straight into an opportunity to face Imperium for the tag titles is amazing. And I wish the best for those boys, and I really do hope they win these titles against Imperium, because they would be the happiest thing in the world for me, and I love them so much. And that's my favorite match of the night, the triple threat for the number one contendership for the tag titles. That had to be my highlight of the night. Now, as for my AEW favorite moment, I personally do not watch a lot of AEW. I'm solely a NXT kind of person, but I did watch some of the highlights on YouTube and stuff like that, and my favorite highlight is kind of different than what you would expect. My favorite moment of the night had to be when Tully Blanchard and Sean Spears was cutting the promo. I think Sean Spears is an amazing heel. He's like a classic old school heel, and I love him that they paired him up with Tully Blanchard, and I think it's amazing what they're doing together. And this promo that Tully Blanchard cut on Sean was really good, and I really am curious what is next for him. I do really hope that they do something exciting with Sean Spears. He did just have that match with Dustin, and it was kind of like a funny match, but I really do hope that they do something with Sean. And this promo was very well put together. Every time I heard Tully speak, I believed him and I felt it, and I just that had to be my favorite moment. Like I said, I'm more of a NXT kind of person, but that had to be my favorite moment of the night. Totally cutting the promo on Sean. Sean is very much one of my favorite people on AEW, so that had to be my favorite moment.
All right, thank you so much, Priscilla, for appearing on War Games this week. Make sure you guys follow her. Links will be in the description. And now let's get on to NXT. I absolutely loved NXT this week. There was so much that was going on, especially one moment that I do want to point out was the promo from Tommaso Ciampa, and it was nuts, to say the least. But enough of me talking once again. Let's get into the matches. Coming in at my number 3 pick is the triple threat number 1 contenders match for the NXT tag team titles, and this is between the Undisputed Era members Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong taking on Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch and a mystery tag team. And what was cool about this was that the mystery tag team was revealed to be Breezango, who was returning after, I believe it was Fandango with an injury. You saw Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch go haywire on every single tag team. You even saw a cameo appearance from Dexter Loomis, out of all people, scaring Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong, who were on a roll. That led the distraction to a supermodel kick. No, not supermodel. Oh no, to Tyler Breeze hitting a supermodel kick, and Fandango doing his last dance leg drop, and that gives Breezango the victory, and they are named #1 contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championships. I'm going to give this match a solid 4 out of 4 stars to start it with everything. I think that everything from the cameo appearance to what all these three teams had to what all these three teams gave to the table, I absolutely loved every single one of it. So with that said, yeah. But what I also wanted to point out was the appearance of Rinku, and Malcolm Bivens after the match. And what I found interesting was that, and really confused me too, I was like, you know what? Why don't they have anything to do with the tag team championship picture, considering that they attacked Matt Riddle when he was champion? So I'm very interested in seeing how that goes. But I'm very happy for Breezango. I'm really looking forward to them facing off against Imperium, or if it turns out to be a triple threat match, I really love the idea for any of those kind of possibilities. So that brought a smile to my face seeing Breezango back, and it was definitely awesome. At my number 2 pick was actually one match that turned out to be 2 matches, and I'm talking about the singles match between Candice LeRae and Mia Yim. Now, these two have been going at it for weeks. Mia Yim making fun of the Garganos after the Garganos debuted this new persona. And what I found interesting about this whole match was that both women gave it their all, but it ended up in a double count out after they were brawling on to the outside. So for that by itself, I was going to give that maybe a 2.5 or 3 stars out of 4. Very great match in terms of the fighting aspect, but I really didn't like that double count out finish. However, that did change my mind as soon as Keith Lee came out in sweatpants and a t-shirt. He unwillingly got Johnny Gargano, who was interfering, and got him in the military press position. Candice LeRae wasn't too far behind, though. She tried to stop Keith Lee and protect her husband, but that wasn't the case, as Johnny Gargano did get thrown into the ring. And per the order of General Manager William Regal, it was then turned into a mixed tag team match. Now, this mixed tag team match was, in my opinion, it should have been pushed back to TakeOver this Sunday. Or no, it should have been pushed to TakeOver on Sunday, but obviously that wasn't the case. I think it was still cool, though, that they were able to do the mixed tag team match after all. Johnny Gargano's just refusing. He's like, oh no, I don't want to do it. I'm not fully clothed to compete. But Keith Lee and Mia Yim didn't care for that. And the match goes on. You definitely saw the majority of the match being kind of a restart to the original match, which, don't forget, Dakota Kai, Tegan Knox, Raquel Gonzalez, and Shotzi Blackheart all brawled before this came underway, which I'm very interested in seeing how that goes. And, again, the majority of the match, it was cool seeing Mia Yim and Candice LeRae go back and forth. Johnny was just like, no, I don't want to go in there. And then as soon as Keith Lee tags in, it's all over for Johnny Gargano. However, when Keith Lee goes for the Spirit Bomb Powerbomb, Johnny Gargano does the most hilarious thing ever and grab his car keys from his pocket and stabs Keith Lee in the eye. This leads to a distraction with Keith Lee being out of the equation, and leads to Candice LeRae rolling up Mia Yim for the victory. I'm going to give this match a solid 4 out of 4 stars, and I'm not saying that because Johnny Gargano is my hero. I am not saying that at all, but I am definitely saying that because both teams absolutely killed it, and I think that it was definitely TakeOver worthy. Have they moved it to NXT TakeOver in your house? Absolutely, but it is what it is. And now, number one pick. My number one pick for NXT has to be the NXT Interim Cruiserweight Championship match between El Hijo Fantasma versus Drake Maverick in the finals. And this was a very, 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 very great match. And I'll tell you why for many, many reasons. And it was there's a reason why it was on the main event. I mean, both these men gave it their all. I mean, you saw definitely Drake Maverick not giving up. He kept kicking out of everything. He gave it his all. He didn't give up. But Fantasma did come out with the victory after masked men in suits, which I'm assuming has to deal with the people that they abducted. I don't know. Came out at ringside. Drake Maverick did fight him off, but it wasn't enough to get the victory as Fantasma hit his Samoan driver finisher for the victory. I'm going to give this match a solid 4 out of 4 stars. Definitely rewatch that match if you haven't already. Definitely it's a no quit will from Drake Maverick, and everything going on in that match was absolutely dope, and it was amazing. And you guys have to go back and watch that match. I mean, it's definitely something that can't be replicated again. And that wasn't the only thing that was great about this whole match. After the match, Drake Maverick got a standing ovation because his job was on the line, and this was basically his last match in NXT under his contract. But after receiving a standing ovation, Triple H comes out and hands him a NXT contract, and really that meant the world to not only fans but just people in general. I mean, Drake Maverick fought, from the start of this tournament to the end, and although he did not get the victory, he did earned everybody's respect in the locker room, in the NXT universe, and it was absolutely great. So Drake, if you're watching this, I really do. We as fans appreciate you, and we really thank you for everything. And even he said in a post-match interview that although he didn't get the win, he was in a mix of emotions, and it was absolutely great. And so my final grade for NXT this week, I'm going to give it a plus. I think that everything that went down on NXT was absolutely phenomenal. I think that there was more. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Okay, there's more feel and there was more passion put towards the show, in my opinion. So there you go, guys. That's my pick. Oh, wait a minute. I have one more guest. I do have one more guest. Yes, I do. And you guys, this is a surprise guest because I actually didn't expect to have this guest, but I'm really thankful that they came. For those who don't know, if you don't follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you might have seen this person before. She is a very popular wrestling YouTuber, and she makes great content, like killer dope. She makes dope vlogs. She makes so much great things, and she's a great friend of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the leader of the YWO. Okay, the leader of the YWO, the greatest ever, Kayla, aka Miss WWE Fan 13, giving her top pick for both AEW Dynamite and NXT. Kayla, please take it away.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Miss WWE Fan 13. And for those of you who do not know who I am a pro wrestling content creator on YouTube. I talk about anything professional wrestling, basically. But my expertise and the things I do the most and things I'm most known for is definitely unboxings, toy hunts, and vlogs. As you see from around my room, I'm a major pro wrestling just collector, whether it's wrestling figures, replica titles, autographs, Funkos, all that good stuff. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me. And before I get on with my favorite top moments from this past week on AEW and NXT, I just want to thank Mike for including me in this whole thing. So with that being said, I'm going to be telling you guys my favorite moment from June 3rd's episodes of NXT and AEW. So first, we'll be starting off with NXT. My favorite NXT moment from this past week, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, definitely has to be Breezango returning and becoming the #1 contenders for the NXT tag team titles against Undisputed Era. If you guys do not know, separately or together, I've always loved Breezango. I've always been more of the Tyler Breeze fan, but I love especially them together though. Like that, always been my favorites. Like when they were in the main roster of the Fashion Files and all that stuff, I loved it. And seeing them in NXT again, finally being used correctly, makes me very happy, especially with this past week with them winning. So that's definitely my moment for NXT. Now, when it comes to AEW, I had a little bit of a conflict, maybe. I was going to say Moxley, because if you guys don't know, I love Dean Ambrose when he was in WWE. But then a moment happened that I loved even more. And it is FTR's little interview that they had. If you guys do not know, when they were in WWE as the Revival and in NXT, they were my favorite tag team. And seeing them finally be used correctly in AEW, like given like the look that they're supposed to be, it just overall just makes me super happy. And that little piece of interview just makes me so excited to see what their future is going to hold in AEW. So that is definitely why it's my favorite moment. So yeah, that's it for me. Thank you, Mike. And yeah.
Thank you, Kayla, so much for giving your top picks. I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's edition of War Games episode 6. I want to make sure I said that, episode 6 and not episode 4 on episode 5, which is my fault once again. Shout out to Kayla and Priscilla for being on the show. All the links will be in the description to follow them on all social media platforms. And until we meet for episode 7, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Thank you guys so much for supporting everything that I've been doing recently. I'm trying my best to make these the best episodes I can. And without you guys, there would be no Sock Monkey Mike. So I really do appreciate it. And I will see you guys on episode 7. And until then, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, follow. That's pretty much all I have. So until next time, I'll see you guys again soon in the next video.
Gotta be the one to put us on, cause I ain't waiting for nobody else to make it.